All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Coach B's Corner. We're going to get started with a video I have been looking forward to making for quite a while. After looking for weeks, probably a month or two, for some film to show my left-handed throwers, of which I have 7 this season. I was having trouble finding anything. I found very few videos for lefties, and the ones that I did see were just not what you want to show a thrower who's trying to learn and break bad habits or not develop any bad habits. So I chose not to show my throwers any of those because they were pretty awful. Kids need a lot of work, and I just decided to make my own. So we're going to get right into it here. And to introduce this guy, this is one of my throwers. He's a lefty, as you can tell. He is a junior. He came out for track last season. I recruited him out of the weight room. I walked in there, and there stood this 6'7" young man, and I told him he needed to be a discus thrower. And good news for me as a coach, he listened to me, and he's got 1 year of experience under his belt, and still a little raw. Has some work to do, but he's learning. He's a quick learner, and he does what I ask him to. So that's a great thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play this film at full speed in real time, and we're just going to kind of dissect what he's doing, and we're going to talk about ways to improve a thrower's technique who is struggling with these issues. And here we go. We got to get right into it. All right. So you notice he's 6'7", and he's not quite getting to the front of the ring. But I don't want to just pick on this guy because he's a really good kid, and that's no way to coach. Got to have the positives in there. Good things that he does. Let's take a look at him here. All right, he starts off in the back. Very, very level shoulders. Gets that discus back. Nice thing about his big, long hands is he never has to worry about that discus falling out. So that's a big positive that he's got. Something you can't really coach. The separation right here, if you look at it, of his shoulders and his hips is really, really good. So here we go. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to go. Oh, he faked us out. Got to wind up. So we're going to go a little bit more, and now we're off to the races. So first thing he does, he turns that right knee out, which is a really good way to start this movement out of the back of the ring. So he's doing good there. His hips kind of slowed down, and his shoulders caught up with him a little bit. So that's something that we can work on. There's a drill called keeping the X that we will go over at practice. Basically, you hold a long pole with your arms outstretched, and it's sitting on your shoulders, and you have another pole kind of tied around your waist with a rope or anything, and you do your rotation while trying to keep the X, maintaining that shoulder and hip separation, creating torque. So here we go again. They caught up. Comes in at a pretty good angle. That foot is turning really well, really well, really well. And here we go. Over rotation. Drops to his heel. Goes back up on the toe. Separations back. Gets that foot down in the front to block. Never fully blocks. Never gets full leg lift before that foot goes off the ground. So he doesn't get all that leg lift and all that power out of that back power leg. Release angle is excellent. Eyes up. Good angle. Good flight. Nice and smooth. Does a reverse. stays in, but unfortunately we're going off center, and we are also not using the full ring. And for a guy that is 6'7", not to use the whole ring is a little upsetting. So we'll watch that really quick in slow motion. Got our pump. Here we go. Good around, over rotate, and good release, good angle. So, okay, from here we're gonna look at the couple drills that you can do. First thing I'm going to talk about is the half turn, and you can also do a half turn and throw. So that is where you start with your power leg in the middle. You do that quick whip around towards the front, get that block leg down, work getting your block leg down nice and quick, and throwing the disc from there. So it's basically the last half of the circle, the last half of that full turn. The other thing is the step and turn, which is basically, if you've been around the throws for a little while, a South African, except you don't start with your feet split or one foot in. You start with both feet in the ring, and from there you just take a step to the middle, and then basically a half turn, and you can throw it from there also. The other thing is you can do essays, which are the South Africans, and that's basically you just start off of your block foot, your non-power leg, and you basically are working your speed. But for this, we're gonna just go with getting that power leg moving quicker, staying on our toe, and getting that block leg down in the front so we can get that really good whip on that disc, because the disc that moves the fastest will go the farthest. So from here we're going to talk about the backward 7 drill if you're a right-handed thrower, but this is a left-handed thrower video, so we're going to talk about the 7 drill. And the reason it's called the 7 drill, if you look at it here, we will draw our line, and this is the line. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show where our feet are going to be placed at here. There's one, and we'll say this is the other foot. Okay, so that's basic foot placement. Just pretend this is a discus ring for the time being. So when you're doing that, here's the top of your 7. Boom. So since this is a left-handed thrower, we're going to be spinning off of the right foot. So this comes this way, and if you're looking at it from above, you've got yourself a 7 drawn in the ring. So this is your line of travel. This is how you want to move through the ring. Now our thrower was moving, and I'm going to change colors for this. He was moving, his foot was going all the way over here, and his block foot was ending up about here. So he was way off center and rotating way too far over, and he was losing a lot of his drive, a lot of his speed, and he was losing some distance on his throw just by throwing it that far back. So we don't want that. We want to travel down this line. So we're going to change back to blue here. We want our foot, since this is the middle of the ring, we want our foot to land on this line, but past the middle of the ring. Now the reason for this is because you want to move through the ring as far as you can, but you don't want to overextend your base when you get to the front of the ring, because then you lose power and leg drive because your base is so wide. So in front of the ring, you can even be in the front of the ring, you can even be a little bit farther towards the front of the ring, but stay on this line. So that first step is a nice wide circle, and it's going off screen, but it comes around to there. It would go off screen if I really did it. You want that leg out. An old saying that my coach in high school used to say is outside in creates the spin. So the outside is going to be that first leg, that left leg is going to go out nice and wide, keeping your wide base, which is going to make it easier for you to get distance through that ring. It's going to go outside and then in, and we're going to switch to red here. In would be this foot, which is your blocking foot, and you want that to land here and travel close and land there. So the reason you want to travel close is that's that in. That's where you can build some speed. If you go out wider, it's harder to get fast. Some people pick their foot up really, really high and they lose a lot of their speed, which the name of the game in the front is speed. The faster you can get your arm moving and the faster you can get your hips around, the more torque you can create, the faster that discus is released coming out of your hand, the farther it's going to go, as long as you have that good release angle. So you want to go in, your feet almost kiss, meaning they almost touch. And you want to land in this position. That way you can open your hips up to the front so you're not closing yourself off, so you can get all the way around. You don't want to lose any of that hip motion, because we know that we throw with our legs. So what I have my throwers do is we have this 7 here, and I'm going to go clear all of this. I have them take their 7 and grab some sidewalk chalk is what I have them use, and I tell them just go ahead, take your sidewalk chalk, draw yourself a 7 right in the ring. It washes off, you can broom it off. If you've got concrete around where you're at, you can do this, draw yourself a 7, measure out. Okay, we know that a discus ring is 8 feet 4 inches long, or 8 feet 4 inches in diameter, so we know that's how long this line should be. So you can draw that anywhere and measure it. Throwers usually have measuring tapes around, so you can do this drill without being in the discus ring, and this is a great drill to work on while you're not getting any ring time. It really helps with the line of travel, and you can get the proper distance. You can mark off the center with a nice big X with a dot, anything you want to do. But yeah, you might hear it be called the backwards 7 drill, because all of those right-handed guys that you're seeing throw, they will throw and travel this direction, which is a backwards 7. So we don't want that for you. We want this blue line. So that is the 7 drill. Okay, we're going to go back to this young man. Same guy, different angle. This is a different day. If you notice, the sky's a little overcast. So here we go from the front. We can watch his line of travel. So this is a really good angle to see. My drone was not working, so I don't have him from above. So here we go in slow motion. You can watch his line of travel here. So we get our wind up, and we go. Alright, so I'm going to pause it there, and I'm going to rewind. So he's got a decent reverse. Take a look at that separation. He's got the block. His arm's blocking, his chest's up, eyes are up, shoulders are not quite caught up with the hips, so he's got really good separation between his hips and his shoulders, creating that torque. And I can't even see his left arm. He's got that sucker so far back there, so that is actually a pretty darn good job. He doesn't leave too early on this throw, so that is a big positive. He knows how to do it right. We just got to get him consistently doing it the correct way. So really good. We could probably get a little bit more force on this leg going down. And as I reverse this, watch how high up his leg is when he comes around. So he leaves the ground, which he goes a little too high. Probably doesn't need to jump that high, being as tall as he is. And go around. So if we watch here, we get that outside, nice and wide, sweep across. He needs to get more forward instead of so much rotation. He's still way over off to the left side of the ring as we're looking at it. Gets around, gets through the ring a little bit better, gets a decent block, comes up a little early, but the discus is released. And he's got that good flight pattern, that good angle. And all around, not a bad throw. So with that, this has been Coach B's Corner. Hope you guys have learned something, and I hope you guys come back and view this video. If you like what you saw, give it a like. If you got any questions or a comment about what you'd like to see next, go ahead and put that down. Otherwise, I'll be making another one. I'm going to put a couple of videos on how to fix your angle of release for the shot put here in a couple weeks. And yeah, I hope to see you back here at Coach B's Corner. All right, have a good one, guys.